I have very high aspirations for myself, who I want to become and the things I want to experience. But often I am just a slacker or just plain lazy, and I don't.
Well, now this is interesting. True, but interesting. So those high aspirations, can you say, in the context of what we've been talking about here today, that you have been one by one putting those aspirations into your vortex of creation, and that the source within you is tending to them and has literally become them? So when you say, I am a slacker, and you feel the negative emotion of that self-judgment, do you realize that the reason it feels so off is because source does not see you as a slacker? In other words, can you get that from that? The fastest way to get separated from source is to look at yourself with devaluation. The surest way to disconnect from who you really are is to find a reason, any reason, to criticize yourself. It's almost as bad to criticize others, but the very worst thing is to criticize you, because it flies in the face of the most powerful love that source flows, you see. So even though it's humorous, and even though maybe sometimes you do it, the reason that it always feels bad when you say it is because source would never say it or feel it or believe it, you see.
So why do I slack off when I know how important your wisdom is?
Well, so let's reword this. Let's word it in softer ways. I'm a slacker. I'm lazy, and I don't do what I need to do in order to be in the vortex. Now feel how that feels. Now, since you want to be in the vortex, what do you want more? To offer an accurate depiction of yourself and where you stand, or to be in the vortex? Well, what you want more is to be in the vortex. Well, you can't do that and be in the vortex. So you want to find another way of looking at it. So you would say something like, I've come to experience contrast, and I acknowledge that I've gotten kind of off track. I don't always appreciate myself the way I want to. I'm looking forward to more self-appreciation. That sort of turns you in the direction of the vortex. Or you could say, it's not that I'm lazy, it's that sometimes, without realizing it, I've activated vibrations that are really dominant within me. So those are the thoughts that I have access to. And so it's not that I'm a slacker, it's just that law of attraction cues me up with these thoughts more easily than these thoughts, because I didn't know to focus in that way. Now I understand the vortex. Now I understand who I am. I have more desire to direct my thoughts into things that feel good. You could say, I like realizing that my emotions are guiding me into alignment. And I like knowing that negative condemnation of myself and the feeling that comes as a result of it means that these thoughts are way off base. I think that the only way that I can ever become a really good focuser is to focus out of the vortex and feel the results, and focus in the vortex and feel the results. I don't think I've been a slacker. I think I've been a collector of data. I think I've been a collector of experience. I think I've been a launcher of desires. I've been doing a whole lot of step one work. I've filled my vortex full of things that I want. I wouldn't call that a slacker. I've been going about life the hard way. Life outside the vortex is thousands of times harder than life in the vortex. I don't deserve the label of a slacker. I deserve the label of a human who's tried to keep every ridiculous law that humans have offered from outside the vortex, and none of them work, but I didn't give up. I wouldn't call that a slacker. I would call that misinformed. I would call that trying to please others. I would try going about it the hard way, but I have never been a slacker. I have never been a slacker. And now I'm going to apply my same ability to focus with the laws of the universe, and just because it's easier, I will not call myself a slacker. I'm going to utilize the energy that creates worlds. I'm going to use the leverage of alignment. I'm going to discover what a cooperative universe is really like. I'm going to be in the vortex, thinking my way into alignment, thinking my way into productivity, and thinking my way into the success that I want, thinking and feeling my way there. And others looking at me who see me no longer paying the price of being out of the vortex, they're going to call me the slacker. They're going to say, how in the world can things be so easy? You do not look like you're paying the price at all anymore. And then I'll explain to them, I was all confused about this slacker thing too. Turns out that we are supposed to live well, and life is supposed to be good for us. And there is a universal force that's set up to accommodate us. And all we have to do is find a way to get into alignment with it, you see. And I was so busy trying to prove my worthiness that I held myself in vibrational resistance to the ease. And then I just got disappointed and worn down, and then I stopped trying. That's all that happened. But now, think about what you know now. Yes.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Hi, Abraham. I've come to draw a number of conclusions about law of attraction, and I was wondering if I could present them to you and hear what you're thinking about them. If I think about law of attraction, I'm thinking of something that either is or isn't. So either there is no law of attraction or there is. But if there is, it's not something you can turn off or something that can be there just a little bit, like being just a little bit pregnant or a little bit dead. It's complete.
Well, you can be a little dead.
Yeah, okay. I acknowledge that.
In other words, you can pinch yourself off a little bit from life.
Yeah, yeah.
But we get what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We agree with that. Law of attraction is whether you know that it is or not.
Yes.
And you are offering vibrations whether you know that you are or not. And law of attraction is assembling the cooperative components to the vibration that you're offering. So while there is this powerful vortex of well-being that has been assembled by you and is revolving and spinning and drawing to itself on your behalf, there are all kinds of vortices of attraction going on around here. There are all kinds of them. And you can tell by the way you feel and by the way they manifest what one is active within you at the time.
Yeah, and that's then the second part. Because if I draw that conclusion and I see all those people around me that are all in their own vortex or not, and they're all getting that, what they want or what they energetically represent at that time.
Better said. There are a lot of people getting something very different than what they want, but it is, those are perfect words, what energetically they represent. Yes.
Yeah. So that means that everybody is representing something, and the universe is constantly doing its stuff for everybody at the same time to make sure that that person gets what he represents at that time.
Law of attraction is like a magnifying glass that is laid over everything and amplifies the vibration of whatever it is.
Yeah.
Law of attraction coordinates the vibrational frequencies and brings the frequencies together that are the same. Just like your transmitter and receiver on your radio. If you tune your radio to 101 FM, you're going to pick up the broadcasting from that.
Yeah. So that means that if it all comes together for everybody, that means that not a single flap of a butterfly or whatever everybody else is doing or whatever I am doing, it all influences the entire system that we're working in.
But here's where we're going to deviate a little bit from where you're going. Mm-hmm. Everyone is offering a vibration, and law of attraction is responding to the vibration and matching the like vibrations up. But those over there in that vortex of disconnection, in that vortex of resistance, even though they're adding to the whole, if you are in alignment with who you are, they're not adding to the whole of your manifestations. In other words, you get what is your vibrational offering, they get what is theirs.
Yeah.
And unless you make what they're doing your business by focusing on it and approving of it or disapproving of it, what they're doing won't be part of your mix, and you won't draw what they're doing into what's going on with you.
Yeah, I understand that. But what I'm trying to say is that I see this huge mechanism behind it that's making sure that everybody gets what he or she energetically represents at the same time.
It's the best description of what man has been calling free will for a very long time. You be, you observe or imagine or focus, and therefore offer a vibration. And then the things that correspond with that vibration are reflected in your experience. And from that reflection or manifestation, you now have the option of knowing more clearly, if you don't want it, what you do want, or if it's something that you do want, continuing to amplify that by focusing upon its positive aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So have you come to the conclusion in all of this analysis that through all of this exposure to life and through law of attraction's response, that there's a huge vortex of well-being that is culminated, that will feed generations and generations and generations and generations to come? Can you feel the amassing of the huge well-being and the response to that amassing by law of attraction and what it means for all that is coming next? And can you feel that as this vortex of well-being expands and becomes more, that more and more those who don't allow themselves to go with it feel the discord of it? So it sort of explains why the rich are richer and the poor are poorer and the well are weller and the sick are sicker. In other words, this magnificent contrast is causing everything to become more. And as everything becomes more, it plays with stronger fashion against each other, doesn't it? That's why these are the best of times. They are the worst of times and the best of times. And the reason they are the best of times is because they are the worst of times. Because the best of times is always born out of the worst of times, you see.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So I draw the conclusion one step further, because what I see behind it is this enormous intelligence, source, God, the universe, whatever you might call it, that is steering everything at once. So I've kind of come to the conclusion that source is one, that we are one, that we are all coming from that same source part. We're all fragments of it.
You could not have said it better, and we said it less good as we began today, saying that you are source energy and that you are powerful and eternal, and that then a part of that source energy is represented here in this physical body, but a small part of it. And that this small focus then causes you to ask, which causes you to add to this greater whole. And this greater whole then calls the rest of you forward. And when you go, you say, ah. When you go, you say, yes. And when you don't, you say, ow. In varying degrees. When life causes you to expand and you allow the expansion, it's blissful. And when you don't, it's less pleasant. And then you croak and you allow it.
Yeah.
Or you do a focus wheel and you allow it. Or you praise and you allow it. Or you meditate and you allow it. Or you appreciate and allow it. You look for positive aspects and allow it. You criticize and you don't. You blame and you don't. You hate and you don't. You love and you do. In other words, it's all about focusing into that, the hugeness of this expanding and expanded becoming. Esther says to Jerry occasionally, when she's out of the vortex and knows it, I think I'll just go get Abraham. I think you should live with them. And rarely does Jerry disagree. Because to interact with someone who not only knows their value but knows yours is really a nice experience, you see. We agree with everything you said, and you said it perfectly.
Thank you very much.